The following is the gruesome tale of a couple in India mauled and eaten alive by a rabid sloth bear, and their half-eaten corpses guarded by the animal for over 5 hours in the tropical jungle of the Panna National Park. Hit that like button and subscribe right now. This is the gruesome sloth bear attack on Mukesh Rai and his wife. Welcome to Final Affliction. On the morning of June 5th, 2022, 43-year-old Mukesh Rai and his wife, 39-year-old Gudiya Rai, had gone to pray at the Khermai Temple in the central Indian state of Madhya, Pradesh. The area is known for its varied topography, including river valleys, small peaks, and dense forests. More than a third of this large Indian state is covered in trees and is populated by a wide range of flora and fauna not found anywhere else across the country. The forests are home to animals like the porcupine, fox, wild boars, bison, and the infamous Indian sloth bear. The sloth bear is one of 8 species of bears and is a native of the Indian subcontinent. The animal is a vicious predator, weighing close to an American black bear at around 300 pounds and measuring over 6 feet in length. It is distinguished by its disproportionately large claws relative to its body size. These claws can be more than 5 inches long and are a natural adaptation to dig up termite mounds and insects. They are also a formidable weapon in case of an attack, helping the bear rip through skin and open up its prey's body with one deep scratch. A disturbing fact about the sloth bear is that it is known to be the most aggressive to humans among bears around the world. They see humans as not much more than a frail and slow prey that can make for an easy meal. On that fateful early morning at 6 a.m., Mukesh and Gudiya decided to go on a stroll a few kilometers outside their house and visit the Khermai Temple nearby to pray. The place was several minutes away by foot, and the couple thought this was a good time to catch up with a romantic walk on their way to the temple. However, the path they intended to take went through the thick forests of the Panna National Park, and they were blissfully unaware of the danger of walking through it alone in the early hours of the day. Sloth bears are nocturnal animals that hide and sleep in the jungle for most of the day, but it was still regarded unsafe to tread amongst the trees at the crack of dawn when the bears were likely still awake. At 6:30, Mukesh and Gudiya made their way back from the temple. The area was mostly empty and the town had not yet woken up. Bears were the last thing on their mind as they took their first steps towards their house. The couple walked among the forest, making their way through the branches and fallen trees. The place was eerily silent, unusual for the bustling and busy central Indian city. They were only about half a mile from their house when they heard some commotion among the leaves. Mukesh looked around but dismissed the sound as a farmer or gardener working at the park. Then, as they were less than 2 kilometers from home, Mukesh heard a terrifying growl from his left. He looked and saw a large mass of black fur jump at his wife Gudiya. The scene turned from a calm ambience into a nightmare within seconds as his wife screamed and pleaded for help. The bear had lunged at her out of nowhere, taking aim for her neck and plunging its sharp claws deep into her neck. She was overcome with the massive weight of the bear and collapsed to the ground. Blood sprayed out of her neck as Mukesh screamed at the top of his lungs, trying to scare the animal away. The bear displayed an eerie behavior unlike a hungry predator would, almost acting possessed and malevolent. It tried to scratch at Gudiya's torso and face, inflicting as much pain as it possibly could. Mukesh was frozen in fear for a short few seconds, watching his wife being devoured by a vicious forest predator. Gudiya was being mauled and eaten alive, with the bear growling at her with every piece of flesh it bit off. Mukesh looked around for large rocks and managed to throw them at the bear from a distance, but the bear refused to let go, as bite marks and claw scratches started to fill Gudiya's body. She lay there on the forest floor in a pool of blood, losing consciousness fast. Mukesh cried and called for help, but it seemed as though there was no one hearing his screams. He realized no help was coming, and it was down to him to save his wife's life. He jumped at the bear from behind, trying to tackle and punch it. The bear was momentarily thrown off, stepping away a few feet. Mukesh saw the opportunity to drag his wife to safety and pulled her blood-sodden body by the hand away from the bear, but the respite was short-lived. The animal ran toward him and jumped at him in a similar fashion as it did with Gudiya. It immediately went for the neck, trying to end his life as swiftly as possible. Its razor-sharp claws plunged deep into Mukesh's soft neck, damaging his spine and nerves and paralyzing him. Their fate had now been sealed, as Gudiya had lost consciousness and Mukesh lay paralyzed and helpless, bleeding away as the bear circled their dying bodies in a cynical fashion. Villagers nearby had heard the commotion by this time and reached the spot where the screams were coming from. What they witnessed at the spot was a gruesome sight. The bear guarded the couple's bodies, refusing to let go. It had dragged them to a pool of water a few feet away and nibbled and chewed at their bodies, taking out chunks of flesh bit by bit. The villagers tried to scare away the bear, throwing rocks at it in hopes that it would run away so something from their dead bodies could be salvaged. But the animal did not budge, and gunmen had to be called onto the scene to shoot the bear dead. The bear displayed erratic behavior, pulling their arms and smelling their bodies while showing frantic and jittery body movements. The bystanders and authorities tried to scare the bear away without having to kill it so they could study its odd behavior. After 5 hours of the terrifying ordeal, the animal was finally tranquilized and transported to a nearby vet research center for analysis. It was later found that the bear was in the final stage of rabies and had launched the attack out of confusion and irritation. It was in pain from the infection and likely did not kill the couple to eat them. After only a few hours in captivity, the bear died from rabies. But the news spread to the park rangers, who were ordered to close the park immediately and call back anyone working there. Fear of the infection spreading took over the town, and hundreds more animals had to be tested to make sure nothing else had contracted rabies. Authorities claimed that increasing deforestation had forced the bears to come closer and closer to human settlements in search of food. The central Indian state records some of the highest instances of bear attacks around the world due to the proximity of bear and human populations and the lack of proper regulation and safety measures. The attack was also attributed to the time of the year, as June was the month of the mahua tree flowering, where bears would come to feed on the trees and humans would try and harvest them for profit. It was a chain of unfortunate events that brought the sloth bear and the couple dangerously close, compounded by the disease the animal was suffering from. The news of the deaths spread across the country, and the gory nature of the attack added to the fear of bears in human populations that lived nearby. More than 50 sloth bear attacks had been recorded in the state consistently for 6 years since 2015. With several people in the area showing damaged limbs, scratches, and bite marks. The Indian government gave the family of the couple 400,000 Indian rupees in compensation, equivalent to around $5,000 US. But the news of the death devastated friends and family of the deceased. Their bodies could not be identified until later the next day, as their faces and bodies had been mauled beyond recognition. For Mukesh and Gudiya, a casual morning stroll turned into a harrowing ordeal within a few minutes, as they died trying to save each other while being torn apart by a formidable forest predator, bringing them both to their terrifying final affliction.